Chapter 1. Su Yin floated in the air, watching the chaotic scene below with mixed feelings. A few hours ago, she was still rejoicing that she had finally gotten a sponsor for her family and solved the company's urgent needs. A large truck, driving in the opposite direction, suddenly crashed into his car. After a sharp pain, Su Yin's vision turned black and she lost consciousness. When she woke up, she was already in her current ghostly state. Her soul floated in the air, while her body, which had been hit beyond recognition, was lying on the cold bed in the hospital morgue. Her parents and brother rushed over and cried after confirming the news of her death. Su Yin looked at her mother, who was crying so hard that she almost fainted, her father, who seemed to have aged more than 10 years in an instant, and her brother, who was already tired and haggard, had no choice but to support everything and comfort her parents with reddened eyes. The guilt in her heart reached its peak, and her hatred for the two people and the truck driver was magnified countless times. At this moment, there was a sudden commotion at the end of the corridor. Then, a wheelchair appeared in front of them. The man sitting in the wheelchair was handsome and handsome. His eyebrows were straight, and his eyes were deep and cold. They were as sharp as a knife, and one could not help but want to lower their head and bow down to him. Su Yin recognized the man's identity at a glance. He was the son of the family Hua's previous head, and her former fiancé in name. "Uncle, what are you doing here? Are you here to laugh at our family?" Su Yuxuan was the first to react. She shielded her parents behind her and glared at the man with an unfriendly expression. "People from a family Hua are not welcome here. Get lost." Hua Chenhuan did not say anything. The bodyguard behind him swarmed forward at this moment and blocked all the emotional Su family members outside the morgue. Su Yin did not expect them to suddenly make a move. Her expression changed slightly, and she subconsciously wanted to rush over to help, but she forgot that she had no body and could not touch those people. Fortunately, she soon realized that although these bodyguards stopped her parents and brother from getting close to Hua Chenhuan, they did not do anything to them. Even when her parents and brother beat them up, they did not fight back and allow them to scold and hit them. What were these people here for? Just as this question popped into Su Yin's mind, he saw Hua Chenhuan enter the morgue alone in her wheelchair. The door of the morgue was closed, blocking out the clamor outside. Hua Chenhuan sat beside the mortuary bed and looked at Su Yin. Su Yin floated in the air and stared at Hua Chenhuan. 2 to 3 minutes later, Hua Chenhuan finally moved. He reached out and touched the side of Su Yin's face, which was still intact. Unknowingly, that pair of eyes that were filled with icicles had been slowly replaced by gentleness and longing, and the space between her brows was filled with pity and regret. Before Su Yin could recover from this sudden change, the man in front of her suddenly got up and kissed her cold, bloodless lips. Su Yin's eyes suddenly shrank, and her hand unconsciously covered her mouth, as if Hua Chenhuan's kiss had really kissed her. How could he do such a thing to her corpse? Wait for me. The man's voice was low and magnetic, like a lover's murmur, intoxicating and seductive. Chapter 2. Has everything been arranged? Su Yin watched the man walk out of the morgue and coldly asked the subordinates behind him. After receiving an affirmative answer, the man's eyes were filled with a storm. It was as if the kiss in a room had not only taken away all the warmth from his body, but also all his thoughts in this world. "I want everyone to pay with their lives for her." Su Yin's heart trembled. Pay with their lives? Who did he want to pay with their lives? Was it the driver or someone else? Before she had time to think, Su Yin had already rushed towards Hua Chenhuan, wanting to grab her. But just as her hand was about to touch Hua Chenhuan, everything around her suddenly became still and distorted, including Su Yin herself. A giant whirlpool enveloped everything, and countless fragments of memories flashed through Su Yin's mind. After a few breaths, the whirlpool dissipated and the dust settled. A mechanical voice suddenly sounded. "Ding!" detected a female supporting host. "The counterattack face slapping system is at your service. The selected host has 10 minutes to choose. 1. Accept. 2. Reject. The countdown begins." At the same time, in a certain hospital, a certain person who was supposed to be unconscious suddenly woke up. She sat up from the bed covered in cold sweat. Several people who were waiting by the bed quickly gathered around and asked with concern, Yin Yin, Yin Yin, you're awake. Do you feel uncomfortable anywhere? Does your head still hurt? Mom? Su Yin stared at the familiar figure in front of her with a face full of worry and heartache. She kept touching her, afraid that this was all just a dream. Mom's here, Mom's here. Do you feel dizzy? Does it hurt anywhere? Yuxuan, quickly go find a doctor to check on your sister. Okay. Su Yuxuan was about to turn and leave, but his sister grabbed his hand first. Don't go. Su Yin tightly held her brother's hand. Her body couldn't help but slightly tremble. She had returned. She had returned to the past when she was still alive. Her parents and brother had not been dragged down by her and died, tragically one after another. They were all still alive. Brother, Dad, and Mom? Su Yin's eyes swept over the familiar figures in front of her, her eyes slightly red. She could no longer suppress the fear and grievance in her heart. She threw herself into Mother Su's arms and burst into tears. Mrs. Su knew that her daughter was upset because of what had happened. Her heart ached as she said, It's okay, it's okay. I know you've suffered a lot this time. Don't worry, your father, your brother, and I will definitely avenge you. We'll make that Hua Xiaofeng and that shameless B***TCH come to you personally and apologize to you. That's right. Su Yuxuan chimed in indignantly. That family has gone too far. Don't worry, Dad, Mom, and I will definitely seek justice for you. Even if we can't openly fall out with the family Hua, at most, I'll privately find a few people to put a gunny sack over his head and beat him up. No matter what, I'll avenge you. Su Yin's brother was usually the most secretive. If you cut him open, you could tell that he was a black-hearted person. It was rare for him to lose control of his emotions and say such things. It was obvious that he was really angry. What was even rarer was that Father Su did not stop his son after hearing what he said. Instead, his face was as dark as his son's, and he looked at his daughter worriedly. The daughter of the Su family, who had been pampered since she was young, had been humiliated like that. Chapter 3. When Su Yin heard the name of her fiancé from her previous life, her whole body trembled. Only then did she realize that she had returned to 3 years ago. At the birthday banquet of the eldest son of the family Hua, she accidentally saw her brainless fiancé cheating on her in front of everyone. She was even pushed down the stairs by the self-proclaimed true love of the mistress and her fiancé, causing her to fall unconscious and be hospitalized. When she thought of the scumbag couple and the scumbag couple, as well as the hypocritical elders of the scumbag's family who were polite and courteous to her family on the surface, a flash of disgust quickly passed through Su Yin's eyes. But then, the image of the man who kissed her in the morgue unconsciously appeared in her mind. A few years later, the man who hugged her ashes and burned himself in despair. Everything in the future had not happened yet. The man and she were still alive and well. When she realized this, Su Yin's heart trembled violently. She couldn't wait to see him again. Mom, I want to go to the family Hua. I want to go now. But your body... Mother Su thought that she wanted to go to the family Hua to settle the score. Although she agreed, she was still a little worried. Be good. Bear with it for now. When you're better, we'll go and settle the score with them. I'm fine. I was just angry at the time. Plus, I knocked myself out and felt dizzy. Now that I'm awake, everything is fine. Really. Su Yin hugged her mother's arm and begged. Mom, I want to go to the family Hua. I want to go now. Can you come with me? Mother Su's heart softened at her daughter's pleading. Moreover, she really couldn't take it lying down. She gritted her teeth and nodded. All right then, we'll go with you to the family Hua and help you break off the engagement. Father Su and Su Yuxuan's faces darkened. They echoed, Yes, yes, yes. Break off the engagement. We'll break off the engagement now. When Su Yin was unconscious, they weren't in the mood to find out who was right and who was wrong. Now that Su Yin was awake, they couldn't just let the matter rest. Su Yin left the hospital with her parents' help. The moment she got into the car, Her heart's anticipation reached its peak. She couldn't wait to appear in front of that person and hug him tightly. At that moment, a mechanical voice suddenly sounded in her head. The 10-minute countdown has passed. The system has been accepted. By default, the system. 3, 2, 1. 1. Bound. Service. Calm. The smile on Su Yin's face froze, and she glanced at her oblivious parents beside her. She narrowed her eyes dangly. And you? Why are you talking in my head? Tell me clearly. It's a long story. Host, please take a look at this book. As soon as the voice fell, Su Yin felt something appear in her head. It was a book. The title of the book was The Heart-Stealing Game, My 101 Sweet Kisses with the Domineering School Hunk. She didn't know what to do with this melodramatic Mary Sue naming style. Chapter 4. During this period of time, this poor girl seemed to have cheated and made a name for herself in the entertainment industry under the protection of a group of loyal backups. She even received the approval of the male lead's parents and married the male lead. However, this was not the main point. The main point was that the name of the evil supporting female lead who stirred up the storm and died tragically in the end was exactly the same as hers. Su Yin's face was as black as the bottom of a pot. So, you trying to tell me that the world I live in is just a book, and that whether it's me or my family, we're all just paper people in the book, and that I'm the infamous evil supporting female lead who's beaten up by everyone she sees? Yes, the male and female leads of this book are my retarded fiancé and the woman beside him. Yes, they're the children of the world. Su Yin's eyes turned cold, and she laughed coldly. Ha! They're the children of the world. How could they be so easily killed by Hua Chenhuan in the previous life? In the previous life, Su Yin did not reincarnate immediately after she died. Instead, she stayed by Hua Chenhuan's side and watched him push those who had harmed her and her family to their deaths. Among these people, the first to bear the brunt was Hua Xiaofeng and that woman. Although there were many accidents in the plan, and they managed to escape, in the end, they still fell into Hua Chenhuan's meticulous trap and died without a burial place. The system really wanted to cry. Why were other people's hosts so soft and cute, but its own was so difficult to deal with? Still not telling the truth. Hua Xiaofeng and Wen Jingping are indeed the male and female leads of this world. They represent the world's consciousness, other than the predestined villains. Anyone who has seen them will spontaneously have a good impression of them and be used by them. This is the legendary protagonist aura. Su Yin's eyes darkened and a chill passed through them. No wonder those two were so ordinary in their previous lives and could even be said to be mediocre and incompetent, but they had gathered so many powerful people around them. Even some of their family friends who had good relations with them seemed to have been bewitched and inexplicably broke off their family ties for those two, and were dead set on those two. So it was because of this so-called protagonist aura. A person with the protagonist aura should have a smooth sailing life. Host, you've seen it just now. According to the original timeline, after the evil female supporting character who was the stumbling block in their relationship, that is, you the host, died, the two of them should have successfully obtained the approval of the male lead's parents. They should have gotten married and lived happily ever after. However, because of the host's death, the family who was little uncle, who was supposed to be cannon fodder, suddenly turned evil. He reversed the heavenly Tao and killed the male and female leads, causing the world to collapse. Because of this, the host was given a chance to start over. Hearing this, Su Yin felt an inexplicable shudder. If the system was not lying, and those two were really the children of the world, then Hua Chenhuan had become the enemy of the entire world for her. And in the end, he had won. Su Yin's heart thumped, and the smile on her face unconsciously widened. Her whole body was filled with a sense of pride that said, "My man is so powerful, the most powerful person in the world." The system who accidentally heard Su Yin's thoughts. Chapter 5. In theory, yes, but there's still a chance. A chance? Su Yin raised her eyebrows. You mean you? Yes, you can use the system to seize the female lead's Goldfinger and Halo. You can support the world's luck on their behalf and change fate. Seize their Goldfinger and Halo. Su Yin was tempted. If the abnormalities of those people in her previous life were due to this Halo, would the two people who had lost their Halo still be able to stir up trouble and hurt her, her family, and friends like they did in her previous life? In addition, by accumulating likability and conviction points, the host can level up and unlock a series of special medical skills, such as medicinal cuisine and acupuncture. The higher the level, the more difficult and complicated diseases you can cure. Su Yin's hands clenched by her sides, and her pupils constricted. The system was hinting to her that as long as she could seize the two people's halos and work hard to level up, Hua Chenhuan's leg could be saved. When the Su family arrived at the family Hua, Xiaofeng and his family were about to leave. The family Hua was stunned when they saw Su Yin and the others suddenly show up. Mrs. Hua was the first to react. She stepped forward and said, Xiaoqin, why are you all here? Is Yayin's injury okay? Jian and I were about to take Xiaofeng to the hospital to see Yayin when you all came. Mrs. Su avoided Mrs. Hua's hand and said coldly, Since your whole family is here, we won't beat around the bush. You all saw what happened last night. We're here today to ask the family Hua how you want to deal with this matter. Mrs. Hua subconsciously glanced at her husband and said awkwardly, What happened yesterday was indeed Xiaofeng's fault. Qihan and I have already reprimanded him, and Xiaofeng already knows his mistake. Before Mrs. Hua could finish, Cheng Xiaoqin interrupted her impatiently. So, you're going to pretend that nothing happened and just let it go? Cheng Xiaoqin's straightforwardness made the atmosphere in the room freeze for a moment. Hua Qihan coughed softly and broke the silence first. Of course we can't let it go just like that. Xiaofeng, hurry up and apologize to Yayin and your Uncle Su. Hua Xiaofeng's face was still bruised. He must have suffered a lot after they left last night. Now, he was even more reluctant to apologize. Mr. Su was infuriated. He said coldly, No need. Since you admit that this matter is your son's fault, we now request to annul this marriage. Your family shouldn't have any objections, right? Hua Qihan's face suddenly changed. Yesterday's incident had already become a scandal in the upper class. Now, if he agreed to the Su family's request to annul the marriage, their family Hua would really become a laughingstock. Old Su, I know you're angry, but this child is young. It's inevitable that he'll make one or two mistakes. Now that he knows his mistake, can't you give him another chance? Chapter 6. Mr. Su was a taciturn man who usually did not speak for a long time. It was rare for him to say so much all of a sudden. Obviously, he was really angry. Old Su is right. Our family dotes on our own child. We can't afford to be involved in such a life-threatening marriage. Cheng Xiaoqin looked at the people in the family Hua indifferently. Mr. Hua, you have to know that it's not like no one wants our daughter. Since your family Hua is not satisfied with my daughter, we can arrange a private time to make things clear in advance. I only have one precious daughter, and there are many people who want to marry her. How can I rely on your family Hua? But your son just had to choose the most hurtful and humiliating method. He's simply going too far. The couple's words were quite rude. Even an old fox like Hua Qihan could not help but be speechless. Su Yin listened to her parents' tough questioning with a cold expression. She had no intention of stepping forward to smooth things over. In fact, from the moment she stepped into the family Hua, her attention was completely focused on finding the person. After hearing the familiar sound of the wheelchair turning, Su Yin's heart suddenly trembled. She quickly looked up and saw the familiar figure by the railing on the second floor of the family Hua. In an instant, heat hit the tip of her nose and tears blurred her eyes. Finally, she could see him again. She was no longer following him around in the form of a soul and watching him get hurt time and time again to avenge her, but she could not do anything about it. This time, she would walk to his side, touch him, hug him, and even kiss him. The noise around them continued, but Su Yin could not hear anything. Her heart and eyes were only filled with the person she loved deeply and felt sorry for. When the quarrel between them became more and more intense, Su Yiyin took the initiative to step forward and said firmly, "The marriage contract between the Su family and family Hua can be maintained." The quarrel stopped abruptly. Cheng Xiuqin's expression changed slightly. He stared at his daughter in disbelief. Yin Yin, compared to the Su family, Mrs. Hua was overjoyed. She said excitedly, "I knew Yin Yin couldn't bear to part with our Xiaofeng. Xiuqin, look at the two of them, but I want to choose the person I want to marry." Su Yiyin interrupted Mrs. Hua and glanced at Hua Xiaofeng, who had a look of disgust and smugness on his face. Hua Xiaofeng thought that she loved him so much that she could not extricate herself from him. And she said, as soon as Su Yiyin said that, the atmosphere in the room froze again. She said she wanted to marry him. The person he had placed in the deepest part of his heart all this time. The person he thought was too extravagant to even look at from afar, actually said she wanted to marry him in front of everyone. "You want to marry my little uncle? Su Yiyin, you're crazy." Hua Xiaofeng was the most agitated person when he heard Su Yiyin's words. He thought Su Yiyin already had a crush on him and wanted to use her status as his fiancée to get entangled with him. Who would have thought that Su Yiyin would suddenly do something like this? Hua Xiaofeng did not feel happy or relieved at all. Instead, he felt humiliated. Chapter 7. If Su Yiyin knew what he was thinking, she would definitely pick up the glass on the table and smash his head open. Was it worth it for her to beat around the bush and use her lifelong happiness to slap him in the face? Yin Yin, I know you're unhappy, but this is a major event in your life. You can't treat it as a game. Yes, Yiyin, I know you're still angry about what happened last night, but you can't treat this as a game. Although Mrs. Was said this with a smile, there was a hint of disdain and contempt in her tone. Obviously, she also felt that Su Yiyin was speaking in a fit of anger. How could an ordinary person like Hua Qinhuan be interested in a useless person? Su Yiyin's face suddenly turned cold. She could understand her mother's worries, but she couldn't bear to see someone show a trace of hostility to Hua Qinhuan in front of her. "Mrs. Hua, I know very well what I want, and I know what I should be angry about and what I shouldn't be angry about. I also know that some people are not worthy of my anger. I don't need you to remind me." After Su Yiyin finished talking to Mrs. Hua, she ignored her ugly expression and hugged Cheng Xiuqin's arm tightly. She said softly, "Mom, I didn't make this decision on the spur of the moment. I thought about everything clearly before I came." But his leg, Mom." Su Yiyin interrupted her mother sharply. "I love him. I will only love him in this life. I only want him. I won't marry anyone else except him." Cheng Xiuqin was stunned by his daughter's determination and couldn't say anything for a long time. Su Yiyin saw her mother's silence and knew that half of the matter was already settled. She blushed slightly and stole a glance at Hua Qinhuan. Although she was in a good mood, she didn't forget to step on someone. "As for some wild chickens, since they begged me to help them yesterday, I'll do as they wish. Don't come to me and add drama." Hua Xiaofeng's face darkened. He wanted to step forward, but was stopped by Hua Qihan. "Yiyin, marriage is a matter of mutual consent. You and Qinhuan have only met a few times, so you don't know each other well. Moreover, if you suddenly say that you want to change people, Qinhuan might not necessarily. Uncle Hua, are you saying that as long as both of us agree, it's settled?" Hua Qihan choked, and an ominous premonition suddenly arose in his heart, but he still braced himself and said, "Of course, if both of you are in love with each other, we naturally have no objections." Su Yiyin had been waiting for him to say this. She raised her head and looked at Hua Qinhuan. Her eyes sparkled as she asked, "Will you marry me?" Hua Qinhuan met her gaze, and his usually indifferent face softened a little. He opened his mouth and wanted to say yes, but he seemed to think of something. His hand holding the edge of the wheelchair subconsciously tightened, and he didn't answer. Su Yiyin waited for a while. When she saw that he didn't say anything, the light in her eyes dimmed little by little. She asked sadly, "Even you don't want to marry me?" Hua Chenhuan was shocked, and the struggle in his eyes became more obvious. When the two men of the Su family saw their daughter's sister's pitiful appearance, they suddenly forgot all kinds of disagreements about this marriage and turned to glare at Hua Chenhuan. What was wrong with this guy? Their daughter's sister had taken the initiative, but he was still so indifferent. Was he the same as Hua Xiaofeng? Chapter 8. Congratulations, host. You've gained 21 favorability points. Current level, level 1. You still need 79 favorability points to level up. Please keep up the good work. Su Yiyan was startled by the sudden notification in her mind. Although she knew that Hua Chenhuan liked her, who wouldn't want the person they liked to like them more at every moment? Moreover, did this 21 mean that he loved her? Was he secretly confessing to her? Upon realizing this, the disappointment on Su Yiyan's face instantly faded away and was replaced by a bright smile and a little complacent that her scheme had succeeded. Such pure joy made the Su family depressed. For a moment, they didn't know whether to be happy that Su Yiyan got what she wanted or angry that their precious daughter, sister, was inexplicably engaged to a man she didn't know. Hua Qihan didn't seem to expect Hua Chenhuan to agree. His expression changed slightly, and he subconsciously wanted to stop it. Chenhuan, this. Before he could finish speaking, Hua Chenhuan had already glanced at him coldly. Big brother, do you have a problem with this? Hua Qihan felt a chill run down his spine. His expression was ugly as he admitted defeat. No. Damn, After solving the problem with Hua Chenhuan, Su Yiyan hugged Cheng Xiuqin's arm and begged her softly. Cheng Xiuqin was furious. In her opinion, her daughter was basically slapping the family Hua in the face with her lifelong happiness. That Hua Xiaofeng wasn't a good person. Regardless of the Hua family's youngest uncle's character, his legs, her daughter, could have chosen any man. Why did she have to marry a man who couldn't walk? Su Yiyan could tell what Cheng Xiuqin was thinking at a glance. She pitifully called out again, Mom. Cheng Xiuqin's face was cold, and she said awkwardly, This is a lifetime event. Are you serious? You won't regret it? Absolutely not. As Su Yiyan spoke, she leaned close to Cheng Xiuqin's ear and pleaded in a soft voice that only the two of them could hear. Mom, just say yes. I know what I'm doing. I'll deal with you when we get back. Cheng Xiuqin had no choice but to glare fiercely at Su Yiyan before turning to look at Hua Qihan and his wife. Since your son has already found his own happiness, we are not unreasonable people. Nothing forcibly done will be sweet. Now, let's all return to our respective places and get married. Cheng Xiuqin seemed to have relented, but in fact he was reminding the family Hua couple that it was their son who had wronged their daughter first. Now that my daughter is righteous and won't argue with you, if you still have some face, you should know your place. Even if you don't wish me well, don't make any trouble for me. However, Hua Xiaofeng didn't have that kind of expression. When he heard this, he immediately said in a strange tone, You're already engaged, but you're still entangled with your fiancé's uncle. Don't you think it's embarrassing if word gets out? Su Yiyan sneered. I don't know what could be more embarrassing than what happened last night. Hua Xiaofeng's face turned green. He wanted to say something, but Mrs. Hua pulled him back. Hua Xiaofeng looked unhappy. He looked in the direction that Mrs. Hua gestured. His face suddenly turned green, and he didn't dare to say another word. Hua Chenhuan had come downstairs at some point, followed by one of his confidants. Uncle Su, Aunt Su. Chapter 9. Hua Chenhuan's greeting of uncle and auntie directly placed him in the same generation as Su Yiyan and regarded Su Yiyan's parents as his elders. Hua Qihan and his wife, who were originally of the same generation as Mr. and Mrs. Su, were now one generation lower than them. Not to mention, Hua Xiaofeng was Su Yiyan's ex-fiancée. If the two of them really got married, they would have to respectfully address Su Yiyan as aunt when they met in the future. Although the Su couple was not very satisfied with this marriage, when they thought of this, they could not help but feel a little relieved. The way they looked at Hua Chenhuan was also a little more pleasing to the eye. Mr. Su accepted Hua Chenhuan's call of uncle and went straight to the point. Nephew Hua, do you really intend to marry my daughter? If you don't, you should make it clear earlier. There's no need to care about our relationship. I just said that the Su family's daughter doesn't have to worry about marriage. If something like yesterday happens again, even if Su Yiyin likes you, we will never allow her to ruin herself like this. Hua Chenhuan was not in a hurry to answer. Instead, she turned her head to look at Su Yiyin. Su Yiyin's gaze never left Hua Chenhuan since she came down from upstairs. The focus and affection in her eyes didn't seem to be fake. Even Su Yuxuan, the eldest brother, was a little jealous when he looked at her, let alone Hua Chenhuan, who had intentions toward her. Hua Chenhuan's heart was burning. She only felt that her previous hesitation and concession were stupid. Don't worry. Since I promised Yin Yin, I won't go back on my word. The wedding date originally planned for the two families was next month. I will send someone to propose marriage as soon as possible. I will also prepare the ceremony as soon as possible. I won't let Yin Yin down. Mr. Su still felt a little uncomfortable, but considering the special situation at the moment, he snorted reluctantly. That's more like it. Just like that, the two men decided on their marriage, leaving no room for the family Hua to intervene. The members of the Su family, who had come over aggressively to break off the engagement, only to have the engagement annulled and then inexplicably set up another engagement, were still a little confused. However, they were unwilling to continue staying in the family Hua. Since the Su family wanted to leave, Hua Chenhuan, as the future son-in-law of the Su family, naturally had to send them off. The other members of the family Hua also followed them out for some unknown reason. Su Yiyin looked at the car door opened by her brother. Then, she seemed to have thought of something. She turned around and ran in the direction of Hua Chenhuan. Can I come to you tomorrow? Her eyes were astonishingly bright, full of expectation and joy. They were even more dazzling and breathtaking than Hua Chenhuan remembered. All right, I'll send someone to pick you up tomorrow morning. Okay. Su Yiyin nodded, her eyes turning slightly. Before Hua Chenhuan could react, she leaned forward and planted a kiss on his eyes. Hua Chenhuan's eyes narrowed, his face full of surprise. Congratulations, host. You've received 21 favorability points. You're 58 favorability points away from leveling up. Please continue to work hard. See you tomorrow. The expected notification made Su Yiyin feel even sweeter and happier. She blushed slightly and ran away as if she was escaping. Hua Chenhuan was stunned for a while before he realized what had just happened. His hand unconsciously touched the spot where he had been kissed, and a warm smile that had never appeared before appeared on his face. Chapter 10. The confidant who had wheeled Hua Chenhuan out sneered when he heard Hua Xiaofeng's words. He looked at him with a bit of sarcasm, as if he was looking at a clown who was not presentable but always liked to jump out and add to his drama. Hua Xiaofeng's expression changed again when he heard the sneer. However, he was extremely afraid of his uncle and did not dare to confront his confidant directly. He could only reluctantly swallow his anger. As soon as Su Yiyin and the others left, the family Hua fell into a subtle awkwardness. Hua Qihan was under great pressure and advised, Chenhuan, Miss Su is young and immature. From her and her parents' reactions just now, it is obvious that this marriage is just a spur of the moment. You really don't have to suffer. Before Hua Qihan could finish, he was interrupted by Hua Chenhuan. If your son is more capable, I don't have to suffer this grievance. Hua Qihan choked, and his face was extremely ugly. Hua Xiaofeng's face turned pale. I will decide my own marriage. Big brother, you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about the wedding and all the social activities after that. You just have to be there. Of course. Hua Chenhuan's gaze swept over them one by one. It was cold and deep, as if she could see into their hearts at a glance. She dug out everything that they desperately wanted to hide in their hearts and exposed it in front of others. Even if you don't attend, I have no objections. The sound of the wheelchair rolling gradually faded away, but it left an indelible mark in the hearts of everyone in the family Hua. Mrs. Hua held her husband's hand in panic and helplessness. She asked for help. Qihan, what should we do now? Are we just going to watch little Uncle marry into the Su family? What should we do? How would I know? Ask your precious son. Although the Su family didn't have as deep a foundation as the Su family, they were still a great help. Moreover, they had Mrs. Hua's connections, so they were a perfect match for the Su family. Now, not only had he completely offended the other party, he had even pushed the other party to the opposite side. Hua Qihan already had a lot of scruples about his younger brother, but now he had to watch him take away the help that was supposed to be his. How could he not be angry? Hua Qihan was unhappy. For the first time, he was angry with his youngest son, who had caused all this. He glared at him and turned to leave. It was Hua Xiaofeng's first time facing his father's anger. Despite his fear and panic, he still did not feel that he had done anything wrong. Instead, he resented Su Yiyan even more. He had already made it so clear. If she and her family were magnanimous, they could have just broken off the engagement. Why did she come to his house and embarrass him? Instead, she wanted to marry his uncle. She was really vicious and scheming. What the family didn't know was that Hua Qinhuan hadn't gone far. She was coldly watching this farce from the staircase. Young master, have you really made up your mind? As an old man who had been by Hua Qinhuan's side for many years, Gu Xiaoyang was very clear about his young master's feelings toward that young lady. But it was precisely because he was clear that he was even more worried. If that young lady was really like what Qihan said, and this marriage was just a spur of the moment, the person who would be hurt in the end would definitely be the young master. Chapter 11. At the same time, Su Yiyan, who was sitting in the car, heard the familiar notification sound again. Congratulations, host. You have gained 21 favorability points. You're only one step away from leveling up. Please continue to work hard. She didn't need to think to know who had contributed the favorability points. They had only been apart for a short while, and he was already missing her. Su Yiyan couldn't help but smile. Anyone with a discerning eye could see how happy she was at the moment. Why are you smiling like an idiot? Burp. Su Yiyan was so scared that she hiccuped. She felt inexplicably guilty under her mother's stern and puzzled gaze. Nothing. Cheng Xiuqin wasn't so easily fooled. Nothing? The corners of your mouth are almost reaching your ears. Tell me honestly, what's going on between you and Mr. Hua? The Su family of three still couldn't figure out when their precious daughter, little sister, had met Hua Qinhuan and even developed to the point where she wanted to marry no one else but him. It's a long story. Then make it short. Su Yiyan considered her words carefully. I fell in love with him at first sight, and he is like me for a long time. Like you for a long time. Cheng Xiuqin frowned. How did you know? Did he tell you himself? No, I found out by chance. Mom, I didn't make that decision in front of you and the family on the spur of the moment. It was the result of careful consideration. Cheng Xiuqin's expression eased a little, but she still frowned. But his legs, no matter how much you like him, he is still a mom. Su Yiyan knew what her mother wanted to say, but she didn't like to hear those 3 words from anyone else. He's the person I love the most. This short sentence caused the hearts of everyone present to tremble. A few seconds later, Cheng Xiuqin snorted with jealousy and said awkwardly, You really don't want your mother anymore once you have a husband. You've only known him for a short while, and he's already the person you love the most. Sure enough, it's better to raise a stick than a daughter. A grown girl can't be controlled by her mother. Mr. Su Su Yuxuan, Su Yiyan received the resentful and condemning gazes of his family members, and the corners of his lips curled up slightly. She hugged Cheng Xiuqin's arm tightly and said coquettishly, You are my most beloved family, and he is my future most beloved husband. It's not the same. They don't conflict, and they can't be mixed together. Cheng Xiuqin glanced at his daughter suspiciously and still found it hard to believe. Do you really like him that much? Mom, I will only love him for the rest of my life. There won't be anyone else. The whole family was defeated by Su Yiyan's persistence. They waved their hands helplessly and said, Forget it. Forget it. You can decide your own marriage. If you really suffer in the future, don't come crying to us. Su Yin leaned closer to Cheng Xiuqin, smiling brightly. Now that she was reborn, she would never repeat the mistakes of her previous life. Even if she really had to cry in the future, it would be tears of joy. Su Yin was so excited that she couldn't sleep the whole night. The next morning, she woke up early to wait for Hua Chenhuan's people to pick her up. Cheng Xiuqin saw this scene and felt a little exasperated. Girls should be more reserved. If others see you like this, they might think that you want to get married. Chapter 12. Cheng Xiuqin choked. She was both angry and amused. If she had some doubts about her daughter's confession before, now she believed it 100%. She was just a little puzzled. What kind of charm did Hua Chenhuan have that made her daughter so infatuated with him? Compared to Cheng Xiuqin's curiosity, the two men in the family had already turned sour. Mr. Su shook the newspaper in his hand and let out a cold snort. Not far away, Su Yuxuan, who was eating breakfast, cut the poached egg on his plate with a crunching sound. It was unknown if he thought it was some dog who had abducted his little sister. Su Yin did not notice the sour atmosphere in the house. Just as she was about to go out, she suddenly felt something heavy on her feet. As soon as she lowered her head, she met the fluffy pink ball and the little guy's big, innocent eyes that were like black grapes. Su Yin seemed to have thought of something. Her eyes lit up. She reached out and scooped the little guy into her arms. She coaxed in a low voice, "Good girl, Mommy will take you to see your future dog daddy. Young master, Miss Su is here." When Su Yin arrived at the family's old residence, Hua Chenhuan had just finished breakfast and was sitting in the hall reading documents. Hearing this, his hand suddenly paused. He slightly bent and straightened it. After doing this several times, Hua Chenhuan looked up at the door. When he saw it, he was dumbfounded. Su Yin was wearing a beige dress today. Her long, black hair that reached her shoulders made her look more casual and gentle than when she was at home. However, the most eye-catching thing was not Su Yin, but the one in her arms who was wearing a pink lace dress and a big bow of the same color. It was looking around foolishly. Little corgi. Hua Chenhuan's eyebrows twitched. As a peeping demon who had secretly paid attention to Su Yin for more than 10 years, he almost recognized at a glance that this flashy little corgi was the beloved dog that Su Yin had personally raised for a year. However, even though he knew, Hua Chenhuan was still shocked when he saw the little guy with his own eyes. It was clearly a dog, but she had to dress it up like this. It had to be said that a certain someone had a very bad taste. Su Yin saw Hua Chenhuan's shock. A trace of a smile flashed across her eyes, but she pretended to be nervous and said pitifully, "When I went out this morning, my little cutie kept pestering me to come over. I really had no choice but to bring it. If you don't mind, I'll send it back later." Little Corgi seemed to understand his master's words. He wailed and looked at Hua Chenhuan pitifully. Their identical expressions accurately hit Hua Chenhuan's heart, causing him to be instantly defeated. He turned his face away uncomfortably and said coldly, "I don't mind." Su Yin breathed a sigh of relief. At the same time, she also understood that it was within her expectations. After she passed away in her previous life, the family suffered many changes. Her elder brother was so busy that he could barely take care of himself. This little guy fell into Hua Chenhuan's hands. In the end, when Hua Chenhuan committed suicide by setting himself on fire, the little guy stayed by his side and was unwilling to leave. Although Su Yin was not sure that Hua Chenhuan would fall in love with this little guy at first sight, she was sure that he did not hate dogs. Hua Chenhuan looked at Su Yin's overflowing joy and tried his best to suppress the surging emotions in his heart. He gave Gu Xiaoyang, who was not far away, a look. Gu Xiaoyang understood and left with all the servants in the room. Chapter 13. I have something to ask you. Su Yin had expected this. Go ahead. Why did you choose me? Hua Chenhuan stared into Su Yin's eyes. Just because I'm Hua Xiaofeng's uncle? Su Yin frowned and walked to Hua Chenhuan's side with the dog. She squatted down and held Hua Chenhuan's hand. Hua Chenhuan's eyes narrowed. Before he could react, he heard Su Yin say, Because you are Huo Chenhuan. What? It has nothing to do with anyone else. Because you are Huo Chenhuan, I am willing to marry you. I want to marry you. Do you understand now? Huo Chenhuan's heart felt like it was being clenched tightly by a hand. It was released right before he died. His blood flowed backward, causing his heart to beat violently. But the cruel reality forced him to calm down. My legs can only be like this for the rest of my life. I don't mind. Compared to a person's appearance, I care more about whether or not the person loves me, and whether or not he can only love me. Hua Xiaofeng's limbs are intact, but in my eyes, such a brainless scumbag like him is not even a billionth of you. Or rather, comparing him to you is a sign of disrespect. Su Yiyin stared at him with bright and calm eyes. She couldn't be more serious. Huo Chenhuan's hand that was holding the wheelchair tightened slightly. His expression didn't change, but his eyes betrayed his true feelings at the moment. Aren't you curious why I chose you? Su Yiyin's eyes flashed with a hint of slyness. She moved closer to him. Huo Chenhuan's heart skipped a beat. He thought she was going to sneak up on him like yesterday. But Su Yiyin stopped less than 5 centimeters away from his face. She blinked and asked with a smile, "What do you see in my eyes?" "Me? Yes, my eyes are filled with you. And I can also see that your eyes are filled with me. This is what I want, a partner who only has eyes for me, and I only have eyes for him. No one can come between us. You can do it, right?" Su Yiyin's words were like a candy that had been dipped in poison. It was filled with an alluring fragrance that was fascinating, but once it was eaten, it would be beyond redemption. The veins on the back of Huo Chenhuan's hand bulged. His fingers kept curling and straightening. After a few breaths, Huo Chenhuan seemed to have made up her mind. Her eyes were scarlet red, like a malicious spirit that had just crawled back from the depths of purgatory. She stared at Su Yiyin insidiously and stubbornly. "Marry me, and in this lifetime, you won't be able to have children." Su Yiyin was shocked and looked at him in disbelief. "There won't be a child. That's right. That car accident back then didn't just take away my legs. If you marry me, you won't be able to have children of your own in this lifetime." Su Yiyin felt as if she had been struck by lightning. Her heart was bleeding. Compared to shock, she felt more heartache, regret, and resentment towards the world. No wonder he wanted her so much in his previous life, but didn't dare to have her. She naturally thought that because his legs were disabled, he was afraid that he would dislike her and implicate her. That was why he didn't dare to declare his love for her, and chose to protect her silently, without asking for anything in return. She didn't expect. Chapter 14. Unlike the previous sneak attack, Su Yiyin didn't run away after kissing him this time. Instead, she looked at the person in front of her seriously while kissing him. Her slightly red eyes were filled with complicated feelings, heartache, and deep affection. However, there was no regret or retreat, as Huo Chenhuan thought. "I don't regret it. Don't even think about pushing me away like this. Isn't it just that we won't have children? If he didn't, then he didn't. Besides, how do you know that I must like children?" Su Yiyin was like a cat whose bottom line had been stepped on. All the hair on her body stood up, trying to make herself look fierce and imposing. However, her red eyes and the heartache in them betrayed her. "You didn't tell me anything. You took on everything by yourself. You didn't ask for my opinion at all and help me make a decision. What right do you have? How do you know what I really want? How do you know that I will definitely regret it? You're really too much." Su Yiyin unconsciously sounded like she was about to cry at the end of her sentence. Her heart was in a mess, not only for the person in front of her, but also for the man in her previous life who, because of his inferiority complex and because of his care, had never said his love to her until his death. She regretted missing him. When Huo Chenhuan saw Su Yiyin crying, the appearance that he had painstakingly built collapsed in an instant. He was a little flustered, which was rare for him. I'm not. I just saw that you like it so much." Su Yiyin was stunned. "It? Who?" Huo Chenhuan's gaze suddenly fell on the silly and confused little corgi in her arms. His meaning was self-evident. Su Yiyin was both angry and amused. What does liking it have to do with liking children? Do people who like pets necessarily like children? These are two different things. Hua Chenhuan looked at her and didn't say anything. He knew very well that this problem wasn't as optimistic as he had imagined. Su Yiyin was young now. It was normal for her not to want children, but who could guarantee that she wouldn't want a child of her own in the next few decades? When that time came, would she blame him for making her lose the right to be a mother? At the thought of this possibility, the anger that Hua Chenhuan had suppressed with great difficulty couldn't help but surge. He couldn't help but want to lock Su Yiyin up, prevent her from seeing anyone, contact anyone, and make her completely his. Even if she really regretted it, he would drag her to hell with him and never be separated. The murderous intent and viciousness in Hua Chenhuan's eyes flashed, but he quickly suppressed it. I can't lose control. I can't lose control. The person in front of him was his only bottom line. Even if he killed himself, he would not touch a single hair on her body. Su Yiyin did not know about Hua Chenhuan's inner struggle, but she could roughly guess his concerns. I do want children. I want a child. But you have to be clear that in this sentence, you are the prerequisite and then the child. If it's not your child, I'd rather not have it. Hua Chenhuan was shocked. He only felt that the darkness in his heart that couldn't be seen by others instantly disappeared because of Su Yiyin's words. Well, let's not talk about this anymore. Su Yiyin saw that his face had turned for the better. She breathed a sigh of relief and said mischievously, "If you really want a baby, isn't there a ready-made one?" As Su Yiyin spoke, she scooped up the chubby little dog in her arms and put it in front of Hua Chenhuan. "Come, Dun, get to know your father. Call me Daddy, call me Daddy." Dundun's black, grape-like eyes were full of confusion. Ow. Chapter 15. Hua Chenhuan still had a remote video conference in the afternoon, so Su Yiyin did not stay in the family Hua for too long. She left after lunch. However, before she left the corgi cub named Dun in the family Hua, saying that she wanted them to cultivate their father-son relationship. Hua Chenhuan, she didn't need it. Just as she got into the car on the way back, a familiar notification sounded. Congratulations to the host for gaining favorability plus 520. It has been detected that the host's total favorability has exceeded 100 and has been promoted to level 2. The level up gift pack and the newbie gift pack have been sent to the host mailbox. Please check it. Su Yiyin was stunned by the sudden increase in favorability. It took her a while to realize that Hua Chenhuan's heart was not completely unaffected by what she had said before. She was obviously very happy, but she did not show it on her face. Should she say that this guy was arrogant or coquettish? After the joy, Su Yiyin finally focused her attention on the 2 new gift packs she had received. However, newbie gift pack? Shouldn't you have given it to me when I was just bound? Of course, the system could not tell Su Yiyin that it had been so anxious to fool Su Yiyin that it had forgotten about it and quickly changed the topic. Please check the gift packs yourself. If there is anything you do not understand, you can ask the system at any time. How could Su Yiyin not hear its guilty conscience? Fortunately, she was in a good mood, so she was too lazy to argue with it. The level-up gift pack and the newbie gift pack looked different in appearance. One was golden, and the other was green. Su Yiyin first clicked on the golden one. The page in front of her suddenly jumped, and a golden book jumped out like a card game. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the book, Medicinal Cuisine Encyclopedia. The skill tree function is officially unlocked. Please work hard to collect favorability and belief points to level up and unlock more skill points as soon as possible. Skill tree? Su Yiyin looked at it and realized that there was an incomparably huge tree-shaped picture in her mind. This picture was like a towering tree that rose from the ground, with some small branches radiating from the trunk to both sides. The medicinal cuisine skill that she had just unlocked was at the bottom of the skill tree, shining brightly. Above it were acupuncture, massage, cupping, and ardingja skills that had yet to be unlocked. The more Su Yiyin read, the brighter her eyes became. Although she didn't know much about medicine, she knew that these things belonged to Chinese medicine that had long been lost in the literature. In this high-tech era where modern medicine had been replaced by various scientific instruments and even Western medicine, traditional Chinese medicine only existed in the regretful imagination of medical students. Before this, Su Yin was still skeptical about the big picture that the system had painted for him. Now that he saw these things, he couldn't help but look forward to it. If she could activate all her skill points, Chenwan's legs, and wouldn't there be room for recovery? Suddenly receiving such a huge reward, Su Yin was looking forward to the rewards given by the system. She couldn't wait to open the other gift pack. The familiar page appeared once again, followed by a flash of light, and a few plant cards popped out. Chapter 16. Medicinal Herbs? The plants on these 3 cards are medicinal herbs? Yes, after testing, these 3 are Chinese medicinal herbs that have long been extinct in the host world. These 3 medicinal herbs will be given to the host for free as a novice gift. As for the rest, the host will have to take the initiative to purchase them from the merchant store. As soon as the system finished speaking, a page similar to a merchant store appeared in front of Su Yin. There were rows and rows of cards that were similar to the medicinal herbs from before. At the bottom of the cards were prices that range from 1,000 favorable impression points to tens of millions of favorable impression points. Su Yin's heart skipped a beat when she saw this. She temporarily closed the merchant store and focused her attention on the 3 medicinal herbs. How do I plant this? Do I directly take the seeds and scatter them into the soil? The host can take the seeds and plant them in the real world. You can also plant them directly in the farm lotus pond provided by the system. Immediately, the scene before Su Yin's eyes changed to a small farm with 15 square plots of land. There was also a small pond beside the farm. The fertile soil in the farm and the mud in the lotus pond have the effect of increasing the medicinal herb seeds' growth and reducing the maturity time. In addition, the host can also use favorable impression points to increase the quality of the soil in the farm to increase the effectiveness and quality of the medicinal herbs. When Su Yin heard this, her vision couldn't help but turn black. Favorable impression points again. She needed favorable impression points to level up, exchange for medicinal herb seeds needed favorable impression points, and upgrade the soil to increase the quality of the medicinal herbs also needed favorable impression points. What she lacked the most now was favorable impression points. Ever since she was born, Su Yin had a good family background and never had to worry about money. However, this was the first time in her life that she felt the bitterness of poverty. Relying only on Huan, this gold mine, was still too little. After all, it was inevitable that the mine would be exhausted after a long time. She had to think of other ways to develop the mission's target. Even if the quality couldn't keep up, she had to make up for it in terms of quantity. Thinking of this, Su Yin thought of a way: live streaming. She could use live streaming to collect favorable impression points, and Su Yin narrowed her eyes. If she didn't remember wrongly, the original female lead, Wen Jingping, seemed to have just made a name for herself in the live streaming world. According to the original novel, Wen Jingping's family had an ancestral recipe book. After Wen Jingping went to college, she couldn't afford the expensive tuition and living expenses, so she started to make money through live streaming. In this era, where most people could only rely on nutritional supplements, Wen Jingping relied on her excellent culinary skills and her cheat to quickly become a rising star in the gourmet area. Because of this, she hooked up with the backups who would work hard for her without complaint. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Su Yin was a little curious. Compared to Wen Jingping's cookbook, which one was better? With this thought in mind, Su Yin tapped on the 3 medicinal herb cards. The cards flipped over, revealing the introductions behind them. Wolfberry, sweet taste, good for liver, kidney, lung. Motherwort, it tastes bitter, mainly promoting blood circulation, removing blood stasis, and regulating menstruation. Hawthorn, sour, slightly sweet, good for digestion and increase appetite. Increase appetite? Su Yin seemed to have thought of something. She raised her head and looked at Gu Xiaoyang, who was driving in front. Has Chenhuan encountered any troubles recently? I saw that he didn't have much of an appetite during lunch. Chapter 17. Su Yiyin furrowed her eyebrows. She already had a plan in mind. Gu Xiaoyang waited for a long time, but did not hear anything else. He breathed a sigh of relief, but also felt a little disappointed. Did Miss Su really like his young master? After Su Yiyin returned home, she planted 3 types of medicinal herbs on the 15 plots of land in the system. After ensuring that she could harvest a batch of finished products before tomorrow morning, she took out some seeds and scattered them in the green belt beside her yard. When she was done, the sky was already a little dark. Su Yiyin calculated the time and quickly finished her dinner. She ran back to her room to harass Hua Chenhuan. Yin Yin loves you most in the world. Are you there? Cat, rolling anxiously. JPG. When Hua Chenhuan's servant saw the straightforward ID name, a faint blush appeared on his sickly pale face, which had not been exposed to the public for a long time. Hua, what's wrong? Yin Yin loves you most in the world. I miss you, cat cuddle. JPG. For some reason, looking at the picture, Hua Chenhuan immediately thought of Su Yiyin squatting beside his wheelchair and looking at her eagerly. She subconsciously wanted to reply with a hug picture, but realized that she was an old cadre who basically did not chat with non-staff members. There was no such thing as an emoji pack. Hua Chenhuan's hand that was poking at her phone suddenly paused. She clicked on another chat box. Puffed. Yuzian, who was sitting opposite Gu Xiaoyang, quickly pulled up the tablecloth to block it, but he still could not escape. Gu Xiaoyang. Gu Xiaoyang covered his chest and apologized with difficulty. Cough. I'm sorry, I really can't hold it in. Young master actually asked me to send him an emoji pack. Emoji pack? Zuiyan Bai and Yuzian looked at each other. Could it be that his account was hacked? It's possible. Gu Xiaoyang nodded in agreement and replied with trepidation. Young master? In person? Hua. Gu Xiaoyang stood up immediately. No, it's definitely young master from his tone. The two of them? What should I do now? Just do as young master says. He must have his reasons. Why do you care so much? Gu Xiaoyang thought it made sense, so he sent all the emoticons on his account to her at once. However, Gu Xiaoyang had completely forgotten that among the hundreds of memes he had, there were always a few that were particularly silly and eye-catching. Hua Chenhuan knew that the emoji package was ready when she heard the phone vibrate. She quickly switched back to the conversation with Gu Xiaoyang. Unexpectedly, in the next second, a tall and burly King Kong Barbie, who looked like an iron tower, came into view. She was wearing a lace dress, waving a small handkerchief, and posing coquettishly like a brothel madam. There was a line of colorful words flashing beside her. Come. There's also a picture of a cartoon character lying on the ground with his face on the ground. Baby fell down. You need to kiss, hug, and raise me high before you can get up. Was this the kind of person who was usually quite reliable like this in private? Hua Chenhuan's eyebrows trembled slightly. After searching for a long time, she finally found a more normal one among the hundreds of memes and sent it to Su Yiyin. Su Yiyin did not get a reply for a long time and was a little worried that she was too direct and scared him. She was hesitating whether she should take the initiative to say something else to make up for it when a picture popped up in the conversation. A middle-aged man in his early 40s was carrying his 5- or 6-year-old daughter, kissing, hugging, and raising her high. Chapter 18. The corner of Su Yin's mouth twitched slightly. Just as she was about to send an ellipsis, the image of Hua Chenhuan sitting upright in his wheelchair and trying his best to cater to her acting cute and sending out love packets appeared in her mind. She couldn't help but burst out laughing. Forget it. Since you're working so hard to cooperate, I won't argue with you about this. Yin Yin loves you the most in the world. Heart. JPG Dad? Hua Chenhuan's hand holding the phone suddenly froze. Was he that old? Su Yiyin didn't know how much of an impact her emoji had on Hua Chenhuan. After the initial teasing, she took the initiative to change the topic and continued chatting. Yin Yin loves you the most in the world. Are you done with your work? Am I disturbing you by sending you a message at this time? Well, I'm done now. Yin Yin loves you the most in the world. How's Dun Dun? Was it good today? Did it disturb you? Hua, it's good, it's good. It didn't disturb me. Su Yayin. This was a straight man's business-like reply. She was afraid that he would kill the conversation. Hua Chenhuan seemed to realize that there was something wrong with the tone of her reply, so she quickly sent another message. Hua, it's very good. It doesn't make a fuss when it's playing or eating. It's very cute. Yin Yin loves you the most in the world. Is it cute or am I cute? Open my big eyes wide, Kazalin. JPG. Hua Chenhuan was slightly stunned, and her face couldn't help but blush again. Hua, you're cute. You're the cutest. Su Yin could feel a certain someone's desire to live through the screen. She screamed, rolled her face into the soft blanket, and rolled back and forth on the bed a few times. When the heat on her face subsided a little, she picked up the phone excitedly again. Yin Yin loves you the most in the world. Can you take a picture of Dun Dun for me? It's best if it's the back. A picture of the dog? Hua Chenhuan looked around, but did not see Dun Dun. After a moment of hesitation, he called out tentatively, Dun Dun. Dun Dun, who was hiding behind the curtains and using his claws to attack Xiao Hua and Butterfly, immediately came out when he heard the call and ran towards Hua Chenhuan. Even from afar, Hua Chenhuan could see the lump of meat or fur on its body swaying back and forth. She had to admit, it was a little cute. Hua Chenhuan coughed softly and raised her phone to take a picture of it. Dun Dun, on the other hand, seemed to recognize the thing in his hand. He thought that Hua Chenhuan wanted to play with him, so he kept circling around his feet, staring at him eagerly. As soon as Hua Chenhuan moved, Dun Dun moved as well. The two of them circled around the same spot a few times. In the end, Hua Chenhuan ran out of patience. He scooped the silly little guy into his arms and took a picture of his fleshy butt. Su Yayan looked at the familiar peach-shaped buttocks in the picture, and the corners of her lips curled up slightly. Yin Yin loves you the most in the world. Do you know why I put Dun Dun with you? Hua Chenhuan, why? Su Yin replied with a picture. It was the same picture that Hua Chenhuan had sent him not long ago. What was different was that the outline of Dun Dun's little buttocks was circled by a red line. Looking at it, it was actually a perfect heart shape. Next to the big heart, there was a long string of smaller hearts with the words, "My little heart is all yours." Hua Chenhuan looked at the picture and narrowed her eyes. She instantly understood what the picture was trying to convey. Why did I put the dog with you? Chapter 19. Hua Chenhuan had lived for more than 20 years, and his first kiss had just been taken away not long ago. In the face of the fierce attack from his fiancée, it only took a moment for him to shed his armor and completely surrender. Hua Chenhuan took a few deep breaths to calm his little heart that was beating wildly. He solemnly responded to Su Yiyan. Hua, I'll cherish it. Su Yiyan couldn't help but smile at the pun in his reply. Yin Yin, who loves you the most in the world? I heard from the people around you that you've been busy with work recently. You often stay up late, and your appetite isn't very good. Although work is important, your health is also very important. You have to remember that you're not alone now. Take good care of your body. Only then can we be together forever. Ever since Hua Chenhuan's father passed away, he hadn't enjoyed such sincere care and concern for many years. Especially the last sentence, which was so tempting. Hua Chenhuan was completely defeated. He couldn't say anything other than the word, okay. Su Yiyin saw Hua Chenhuan obediently agree. She remembered that she still had to find him tomorrow, so she didn't continue to disturb him. Yin Yin, who loves you the most in the world, then I won't disturb you anymore. Finish your work early and go to bed early. Don't stay up late. It was obviously a commanding tone, but it made people feel very comfortable. Well, okay. Little did she know that the moment she stopped talking, Hua Chenhuan's expression couldn't help but become twisted. That pair of long and narrow phoenix-like eyes were filled with the trembling of having gotten what he wanted, the joy of being in love with each other, the unclear guilt, and the almost crazy determination to get what he wanted. I gave you a chance. Since you chose me, don't even think about running away from me in this lifetime. The loss of control of his emotions more or less affected the movements of Hua Chenhuan's hands. Dun Dun, who was originally in his arms, moved uncomfortably. However, she wasn't frightened by his scary appearance. Instead, she seemed to sense his emotions. She stuck out her tongue and carefully licked his fingertips, hoping to make him happy. Hua Chenhuan stared blankly for a moment, looking at the little guy's trusting gaze that was exactly the same as Su Yiyin's. The expression on her face gradually softened. He stretched out his hand to rub Dundon's meaty back and scolded jokingly, "Silly thing, you're as silly as your master." She clearly knew that it was dangerous to stay by his side, yet she still rushed in without hesitation. She couldn't even be chased away, yet she still didn't know how to run. If she wasn't stupid, then what was? But it doesn't matter, I'll protect you. I won't let anyone hurt you, including myself. When Su Yiyin woke up the next day, the first thing he did was to check the medicinal herbs that he had planted last night. Unsurprisingly, he saw the matured icons of these herbs. When collecting them, he could even choose between freshly collected or dehydrated and dried. It saved a lot of work and was very convenient. Su Yiyin put away all the finished medicinal herbs. After picking the new seeds, he went downstairs in high spirits. At this time, Father Su and Mother Su had already left after breakfast, so there was no one downstairs. Su Yiyin tactfully declined the suggestion of the cook, Annie Lee, to prepare another breakfast for her and walked into the small kitchen at home. When Annie Lee heard that Su Yiyin wanted to personally cook, she wanted to stop her. It wasn't until she heard that Su Yiyin wanted to personally cook for her fiancé that she finally understood. Chapter 20. Su Yiyin, who was showing off her affection, found the ingredients she needed for the day and prepared them briefly. She turned on a live stream and pointed the camera at her hand to ensure that her face would not appear on screen. Hello everyone. Welcome to Yin Yin's Little Kitchen. I'm Yin Yin, your host. Today, I'll be bringing you two medicinal cuisines. The so-called medicinal cuisine is a combination of medicinal herbs used in traditional Chinese medicine and natural ingredients. It can not only satisfy the appetite of the stomach, but also nourish the body. Yu Zian was the main person in charge of the livestream platform, Onlooker. The platform had been around for less than 3 years, but it had already gathered many well-known hosts. From a small, unknown platform, it had become a rising star that was about to catch up with a few large livestream platforms. Recently, there was a girl who specialized in cooking natural delicacies in the gourmet section of Eat Melon live broadcast. Within a few months, she had attracted a lot of foodie fans. She had also led countless foreign anchors who smelled benefits to join the gourmet section, greatly making up for the shortcomings of the previous gourmet section. However, most of these people were just pretending to be good people. There were only a few who were truly talented and could be praised. Today, Yu Zian took advantage of his shift to open his own app and wanted to see if there were any undiscovered gems in the food section. Su Yiyin's live stream happened to be right in front of his eyes at this time. Medicinal cuisines? What the hell was that? Was it also edible? With some curiosity, Yu Zian opened the live stream and heard Su Yiyin's opening words. Before he could comment on it, he heard his big boss ask coldly, "What are you looking at?" Yu Zian was shocked and felt inexplicably guilty, as if he had been caught red-handed at work. "Young master, why did you come down?" Hua Chenhuan glanced at him indifferently and repeated his question. "What were you looking at?" Yu Zian's hand holding the phone stiffened. "I was watching the live stream." "Live stream?" Hua Chenhuan frowned slightly. "Give it to me." Yu Zian looked at the hand in front of him, and his heart skipped a beat. Is young master going to smash my phone? Despite his heartache, Yu Zian still handed over the phone respectfully. If Hua Chenhuan had only been slightly suspicious when she first heard the voice, Hua Chenhuan immediately confirmed her suspicions when she saw the pair of hands in the live stream. The person doing the live broadcast was Su Yiyin. Before Hua Chenhuan could think further, Su Yiyin smiled faintly and said, "Recently, someone in my family has been very busy with work and has been staying up late. His liver is very hot, and he has lost his appetite. Therefore, the two medicinal cuisines I'm going to make today are probably related to this." Hua Chenhuan was stunned. She subconsciously thought of the messages that Su Yin had sent her yesterday. Could this family member be referring to him? First, let's make this hawthorn Crucian carp soup. Its main ingredients are hawthorn, Crucian carp, and chestnut. A new streamer? Why don't you show your face? Medicinal cuisine? What's that? I've never heard of it. Why are there so many weird things in the gourmet section recently? What's hawthorn? What's chestnut? Horse's chestnut. Can horse's chestnut be eaten? Don't tell me it's some strange dark cuisine again. Chapter 21. Even though there weren't many people, it was a good start. Su Yin's spirits were lifted, and he began to patiently answer the audience's questions. The hawthorn is the red fruit in my bowl. It's both a fruit and a type of Chinese medicine. Fresh hawthorn can be eaten raw, and after drying, it can be used as medicine. It has a miraculous effect on appetites and digestion. As soon as Su Yin finished speaking, several questions appeared on the screen. Are you serious? What fruit and what kind of medicine are you talking about? Is the host bragging? I can't say for sure. In this day and age, streamers rely on shouting and bragging. There aren't many who have real skills. Let's leave. Huan narrowed his eyes and looked at the bullet screen floating by. His face was a little dark, and it made Yu Xian's heart tremble. Horseshoe isn't a horse's hoof, but this white fruit. The reason why it's called horseshoe is because of the ancient Earth dialect. This fruit is crispy and sweet, and it also has the effect of appetites and digestion. Su Yin ignored the questions on screen. As he spoke, he poured the hawthorn and horseshoe into the pot. After boiling it on high heat, he lowered the heat to simmer it. Then, he picked up another pot and began to fry the fish. Before putting into the pot, I'll fry the fish first. This way, the fish won't fall apart when stewing, and the taste will be better. However, you don't have to fry it for too long. Once both sides are golden brown, you can take it out of the pot. Ever since Su Yin began to fry the fish, the doubts in the broadcast suddenly decreased, and a new batch of viewers even poured in. After all, frying the fish was a technical job, and it was easy to burn it if one wasn't careful. However, Su Yin's fish was still golden when he took it out of the pot, and it looked very appetizing. The host's cooking looks pretty good. However, doesn't the host put shredded ginger to remove the fishy smell? I see that Fudigdata next door adds shredded ginger every time she makes fish. Su Yin saw this comment and paused. Wasn't this Fudigdata when Jinping's ID on the broadcast platform? Shredded ginger can indeed get rid of the fishy smell, but the hawthorn in my pot can also get rid of the fishy smell, so there's no need to add ginger. Su Yin put the fried fish into the soup pot, covered it with a lid, and put it aside to simmer slowly. At the same time, he took out another casserole. There's still some time before the fish soup is ready. Let's take advantage of this time to make another dish, pig liver and wolfberry porridge. The main ingredients used are wolfberry leaves, wolfberry, and pig liver. Su Yin said as she swiftly cooked the rice and wolfberries in the clay pot. Then, she sprinkled some ginger on them to remove the smell. After that, she soaked the pig liver in water to remove the impurities. After the rice in the casserole had boiled, he threw the pig liver and wolfberry leaves into the casserole until the pig liver was cooked. During this process, Su Yin took the time to add some seasoning to the fish soup. As time went by, the smell of the herbs and ingredients in the two pots began to gradually drift out. The dozens of viewers in the live broadcast room were all drooling. The number of viewers in the live stream finally increased by a small margin, and this increase reached its peak the moment Su Yin lifted the lid. Damn, what's this smell? Why is it so fragrant? Chapter 22. The fish smells so fresh. I wonder if it tastes as good. The host is so mean. Why did she only turn on the smell simulator and not the taste simulator? The kids next door are craving it so much that they're crying. I take back what I said before. Even if the host was just bragging, at least her culinary skills are not bad. I'm following her. Su Yin glanced at the screen that was getting denser. She smiled and took out a thermal container to put the porridge inside. Wolfberry leaves have the effect of improving one's eyesight, while wolfberry seeds can nourish the liver, kidney, and lungs. It's very suitable for little cuties with liver and kidney deficiency and night blindness. However, people with high blood pressure shouldn't drink this porridge because pig liver has the effect of nourishing the liver and blood. It's not good for people with high blood pressure to eat too much of it. Friends with high blood pressure should also take note and try not to let them eat this. Hawthorn and crucian carp have the effect of warming the spleen and stomach and have the effect of stimulating the appetite. The taste is slightly sour and sweet, especially suitable for old people with deteriorating taste buds and digestive and breathing difficulties. However, there's one thing to be careful about. It's best not to eat this for pregnant women as it can harm the fetus. Medicinal cuisine is different from nutrient solutions. It's important to supplement what's lacking. Don't eat it carelessly. Old people, Hua Chenhuan, who have been watching the live stream from beginning to end, was hit in the head by the sudden appearance of these few words. Last night, Su Yiyin had called him father, and today there was an old person. Was he really that old in her heart? In extreme depression, Hua Chenhuan did something he would never do under normal circumstances. He turned on the camera on his phone and pointed the lens at his face, carefully examining it from head to toe. Yu Zian, who had been watching by the side, looked at this scene in horror. A very disrespectful thought suddenly rose in his heart. Could it be that his young master was possessed by a ghost? Yu Zian was daydreaming when he was suddenly called. He was so scared that he trembled. What's wrong, young master? Am I very old? Old? Yu Zian almost thought that he was hearing things because he was too nervous. He looked at Hua Chenhuan, who was in his early 20s and had a face full of collagen. He suspected that he was mocking him for being older than him. Young master, why would you think that? People say that one should stand tall at 30. You're only in your early 20s. How can you be considered old? 30 years old? Hua Chenhuan glanced at him and said indifferently, I can't stand it. Yu Zian was speechless. It was still that familiar young master, but he seemed to be 100 times scarier than usual. Qaq Suyin didn't know what kind of misunderstanding his explanation had caused to Hua Chenhuan. After packing up the 2 medicinal cuisines, he was about to end today's live stream when he saw a shiny message floating on the screen of the live stream room. Host, can this food really stimulate the appetite? There's an elder in my family who hasn't had much of an appetite recently. My family is very anxious. If the host food is really appetizing, can you give me a portion? I can buy it with money. As if worried that Su Yiyin wouldn't be able to see it, that person sent several messages in a row. After that, he ran to the gift section and swiped dozens of large diamonds for her. Although this kind of diamond was only 100 yuan, it was the most expensive gift that could be given to a live streaming channel that had not signed a contract. Chapter 23. When Su Yiyin saw this person's words, she subconsciously thought of her grandfather, who loved her very much in her previous life. However, after she and her mother passed away one after another, he was heartbroken and followed her grandfather not long after. In the blink of an eye, that person had already sent her nearly 100 diamonds, and he was still sending them nonstop, as if he was going to keep sending them until she saw them. When Su Yiyin saw this, she hurriedly said, Viewer friend with the ID, I don't like seeing you, stop sending gifts. I haven't signed a contract with the website yet. I won't receive any more gifts no matter how much you send. After that, she glanced at the porridge and soup in the pot, which were less than half left. It should be enough to feed an elderly person. I can give you a share, but it's food after all. Are you in a city? For takeout services, there was an express delivery service in the same city, which guaranteed delivery within 15 minutes. If it was not in the same city, it would take longer. Yes, I'm in a city. Okay then, send me a private message with your address. Today's live broadcast ends here. See you tomorrow at the same time if you're interested. Not long after Su Yiyin closed the live broadcast, she received a private message from I don't like seeing you. After asking a few questions and confirming that the elder he mentioned did not belong to the group of people who were taboo for these 2 things, she sent the things out. After resolving this unexpected episode, Su Yin happily prepared to find Hua Chenhuan with a loving medicinal cuisine in her hands. Unexpectedly, when she turned her head, she met her elder brother's smiling and curious eyes. "Brother?" Su Yin was shocked. "Didn't you go to the company?" "I remembered that I forgot to take a document on the way back, so I came back." Although that was what he said, Su Yuxuan's eyes were almost glued to the insulated box in his sister's hand. He did come back because he forgot to take a document. As soon as he walked to the door, he heard Aunt Li talking to another familiar maid at the door about his sister personally cooking. Su Yuxuan was curious and did not listen to the second half of the conversation. He ran to the kitchen door and stood there. During this time, he heard Su Yin talking about staying up late and nourishing the body. When he thought about how busy he had been these past 2 days, he subconsciously thought that his sister rarely cooked for him. Now that he saw Su Yin come out, he was happily thinking that although he had already eaten breakfast, it was rare for him to have his little sister's kind intentions, so he should not disappoint her. He would just treat it as having lunch in advance. Su Yin did not receive his brother's eager brainwaves. He nodded and said, "Then, brother, you should take the documents and go back to the company early. I'm going out too." "Go out? Where are you going?" "Go find Chenhuan." Su Yuxuan finally realized that something was wrong. She pointed at the things her sister was carrying and asked tentatively, "Then the things in your hands?" Su Yin's small face blushed slightly, with a hint of shyness from being seen through. "This is the lunch I prepared for him." Su Yuxuan's young man's heart, which was full of expectations, was instantly shattered into pieces. His sister rarely went into the kitchen, but it turned out to be to make a lunch for that dog of a man. Su Yin was worried that the food would get cold and was in a hurry to go out, so she did not notice her brother's strange behavior. She said, "Then, brother, I'll go first." Then she went out. Su Yuxuan was left standing in the same place, looking at his sister's back as she walked away. He almost ground his teeth to pieces. That dog of a man who kidnapped my sister, ruined my expectations, and messed up my family. Chapter 24. Hua Chenhuan, who had no idea that his future brother-in-law hated him, stared at the last scene of the live stream with a gloomy face. His fiancée had specially made the medicinal cuisine with love for him, and this bastard who had popped out of nowhere had taken a portion of it. Hua Chenhuan wanted to vomit blood in his heart. He wished he could crawl over the internet cable and snatch back the portion of medicinal cuisine that had been taken away. He even had the thought of blocking the live stream and hiding the person so that no one else could see Su Yin and interact with her. However, Hua Chenhuan knew that it was wrong to do so. If he really did it, Su Yin would not be happy. After spending some time suppressing the anger in his heart, Hua Chenhuan's expression returned to normal. He said coldly, "Who owns this live stream platform? I want to see the contract for the acquisition of this platform this afternoon." Yu Zian wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and said awkwardly, "Young master, this is a business under your name. It's just that I've always been in charge of it." "So you've forgotten that you have such a business under your name after such a long time?" Hua Chenhuan was silent for a moment, then said sternly, "Get someone to draw up a contract of the highest grade. Sign her at all costs. You'll be in charge of her public relations. Don't let anyone defame her." Yu Zian's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Wasn't it a little overkill to ask him, the person in charge of a website, to be in charge of a newbie streamer who had just entered the website? This newbie streamer was going to go to heaven. However, was young master planning to keep a mistress in his house? Didn't he just say 2 days ago that he had gotten engaged to the girl he had been secretly in love with for many years? It had only been 2 days, and he had already fallen for someone else? Why didn't he realize that young master was such a scumbag? Is there a problem? No problem. Yu Zian swallowed hard under Hua Chenhuan's sharp gaze. He suddenly realized that he had overstepped his boundaries. No matter what Hua Chenhuan thought about this female streamer, it was not something that subordinates like them could comment on. "I'll get someone to draft a contract and contact the other party in a while." Only then did Hua Chenhuan's expression lighten up. After a moment of contemplation, she seemed to have thought of something. "Help me apply for another account." I want to be the manager of this live stream. Who exactly was this woman? Not only did she receive the young master's compliment, she even had to trouble their young master to be her personal housekeeper. Yu Xian's question didn't last long because the mysterious woman who amazed him appeared in front of him not long after. Mr. Gu said that you don't have a regular schedule recently and you don't have much of an appetite, so I made this for you. I don't know if you like it. Hua Chenhuan looked at the familiar lunchbox in Su Yin's hands, and her eyes sparkled with joy. Hearing this, she frowned. Just call him by his name. Xiaoyang. Damn it. Why did it sound so intimate? Hua Chenhuan's face darkened. She said word by word seriously, Gu Xiaoyang. Call him by his full name. Su Yin was stunned for a few seconds before she reacted. The person in front of her was actually jealous of the way she addressed him. She couldn't help but laugh. You're so cute. Cute? This time, it was Hua Chenhuan's turn to be stunned. She said that she was cute? Would an old person be called cute? Chapter 25. Su Yin's reaction was similar to Yu Xian's. She blinked her eyes in disbelief. Why would you think that? Did someone tell you something? Of course, Hua Chenhuan couldn't admit that he was provoked by Su Yin's words during the live broadcast. He pursed his lips and said in a low voice, I'm older than you. Before this, whether it was Su Yin or her brother, as long as they were the same generation as Hua Xiaofeng, they had to call him uncle. Su Yin immediately understood the crux of the problem. She laughed and said, being older doesn't mean you're older. My grandfather has a little granduncle who's only 8 years old this year. He runs around like a monkey with snot bubbles hanging from his nose. If you dare to say that he's old to his face, believe it or not, he'll immediately run home crying and complain to the elders at home. Hua Chenhuan was stunned for a moment. He couldn't help but imagine that scene, and a smile appeared in his eyes. Su Yin saw the change in his expression. She thought of some of the outside world's comments about him, and more or less guessed what he was upset about. She took the initiative to hold his hand and said, You're not old at all. On the contrary, I think you're very charming. He was obviously so bold and decisive in front of others, but in front of her, he always had a trace of caution and especially liked to fuss over small things. Su Yin didn't dislike this contrast. Instead, she was secretly happy that she was valued. Hua Chenhuan heard Su Yin's words, and his heart trembled slightly. Although he didn't show any strange expression on his face, the tips of his ears turned red. Su Yin saw this, and the smile in her eyes deepened. Okay, let's not talk about this anymore. Hurry up and take a look at the porridge and soup I brought for you. It won't taste good when it gets cold. After watching the entire live broadcast, Hua Chenhuan was extremely curious about the two things Su Yin made. Drink some soup first. This soup is very appetizing. Try it. Hua Chenhuan nodded and took the small bowl of soup that Su Yin handed to him. He tried to take a sip. How is it? Is it to your taste? Su Yin looked at Hua Chenhuan eagerly. She looked both nervous and curious, just like Dun Dun who begged her for food in the morning. Hua Chenhuan smiled and said, It's delicious. Just as Su Yin had said before, the soup was a little sour because of the hawthorn. This sour taste was mixed with the sweetness of the chestnut, which made the taste of the crucian carp even more delicious. It smelled a little irritating, but it tasted surprisingly soft and sweet. It was very memorable. Drink more if you like it. There's also porridge. It's good for your health. You've been working a lot lately, so you need to make up for it. Hua Chenhuan took a deep look at Su Yin. After drinking a bowl full of soup, she still wanted more, so she turned to eat the porridge. Usually, Hua Chenhuan did not eat pork liver at all. The fishy smell was one thing, but the texture was also not very good. However, the porridge that Su Yin brought didn't taste fishy at all. The pork liver wasn't as dry and hard as she remembered. It was very fresh and tender. Is it delicious? Hua Chenhuan heard Su Yin's voice and suddenly came back to her senses. She realized that she had unknowingly finished half a bowl of porridge. She blushed and was a little embarrassed. It's delicious. This is the best porridge I've ever eaten. Chapter 26. Hua Chenhuan's eyes warmed at Su Yin's words, but she said, "No need. You don't like the food I cook for you? No, it will be very tiring. It's not that I don't like it. I just don't want it to be tiring for you." Words of love, without any embellishment, were even more touching. Su Yin blushed slightly, but her eyes lit up. "I don't think it's tiring. I like to cook for you." She liked to see the person in front of her healthy and healthy. So medicinal cuisine was a must, and so was liking him. One day, she wanted to see him stand up again with her own eyes and stand in front of everyone. She wanted to make those who had mocked and hurt him pay the price. Hua Chenhuan did not object. She scooped another bowl of porridge and ate it silently. She could tell from the slight smile on his face that he was in a good mood. Su Yin was very happy to see Hua Chenhuan enjoying his meal. Suddenly, she felt a familiar weight on the back of her feet. She lowered her head and saw her chubby little cub's complaining eyes that said, sad, helpless, begging to be fed and hugged. Su Yin was speechless. Yu Zian could not control his curiosity when he found out that his boss's future wife, whom he had been secretly in love with for many years, had come to visit. He pretended to be a passerby and sneaked out of the living room. As he walked, he saw the two of them being affectionate. TSK, TSK, TSK. It seemed that young master had reached the end of the line this time. A crush had turned into mutual affection, and a single arrow had turned into a double arrow. Yu Zian sighed as he was tortured miserably. Just as he was about to retreat, his sharp eyes caught sight of the two thermal containers on the table. Why did the two thermal containers look so serious? Wait, wasn't that? Yu Zian, who had been forced to watch the entire live broadcast with Hua Chenhuan, felt that he might have discovered a huge secret. Su Yin didn't stay in the family Hua for too long. He watched as Chenhuan finished the porridge and soup in the Hua family Hua and left with the things. On the way back, she even put on a show with her own children to send them off. In the end, she could not take it anymore and fled under little Corgi's sorrowful gaze. Hua Chenhuan looked at the two clowns, and her usually cold eyes couldn't help but show some warmth. She personally poured some dog food and put in front of Dun Dun. Little Corgi, who had food, instantly escaped from the sadness of his master abandoning him again. He happily buried his little head in the dog food bowl. This was the scene that greeted Yu Zian when he entered the room. Thinking about the big secret that he had just found out not long ago, the corners of his mouth twitched uncontrollably. For a moment, he didn't know what to say. On the other hand, Hua Chenhuan saw him come in and suddenly asked in a deep voice, "Do you have a girlfriend?" Yu Zian was at a loss. "No." Hua Chenhuan glanced at him coldly, as if to say, "You don't even have a girlfriend. What's the use of having you?" Yu Zian felt as if his heart had been pierced several times. Wasn't it just that he didn't have a girlfriend? Why did he have to suffer such disdain? So what if he had a fiancée? It turned out that having a fiancée was very impressive. At least, she could hurt the single dog to her heart's content. Do Xiaoyang and Yinbai have girlfriends? As far as I know, no. Tisk, Hua Chenhuan clicked his tongue and didn't say anything. However, Yu Zian saw some disdain and a trace of undetectable pride in his eyes. Chapter 27. Yu Zian took a deep breath and tried his best to maintain the smile on his face. "Is there anything you need from me? There are some questions about couples that I would like to ask someone who has been in a relationship before." Yu Zian raised his eyebrows slightly with a hint of pride. "If that's the case, I might be able to help." Hua Chenhuan turned to look at him with an inquisitive gaze. Yu Zian was speechless. "Young master, why are you so suspicious? Do you think I'm lying? Who hasn't had a few relationships when they were young?" Cough. "Although I don't have a girlfriend now, I had a few girlfriends before. But before that, I had a few girlfriends. You could say that I was in love." Yu Zian emphasized the words girlfriends, causing Dun Dun, who was eating diligently, to raise its head and look at him. Its gaze seemed to be saying, "I didn't expect you to be such a jerk." Yu Zian was speechless. This dog was going to become a demon. Hua Chenhuan did not notice the flirting between the man and the dog. After hearing Yu Zian's words, She remained silent for a long time before replying faintly. Yesterday, she called me daddy and brought me soup that was suitable for the elderly. But just now, she said that I was cute. What do you think she meant by that? Yu Zian was stunned when he heard the first sentence. Daddy? The future young mistress actually called young master daddy? Was it that exciting? I seriously suspect that you're not here to solve the riddle, but to show off your love in a roundabout way. The huge impact made Yu Zian's brain go blank. So much so that he was unable to react for a few seconds after Hua Chenhuan finished speaking. Hence, when he came back to his senses, he was met with Hua Chenhuan's slightly cold gaze. Yu Zian shuddered and hurriedly said, First of all, I think young master has misunderstood this daddy. Misunderstood? Yes, there's a popular term among the young people nowadays called sugar daddy. It's referring to those rich sponsors and people who rely on them for their livelihood. People who rely on them for their livelihood? Hua Chenhuan narrowed his eyes. Was she hinting that he should take good care of her in the future? If that was the case, he would be very happy. Yu Zian stole a glance at Hua Chenhuan's expression and felt a chill run down his spine. He quickly averted his gaze. He always felt that a certain someone was thinking of something extremely terrifying. So, she might have called you daddy just because she thought it was fun and was just joking. As for that old man, he probably just said it casually and didn't mean anything else. Hua Chenhuan nodded, accepting Yu Zian's explanation. As for cuteness, it might be that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. She actually thought that young master was cute. How blind was this future young madam? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder? Hua Chenhuan narrowed her eyes dangerously and sneered. Are you saying that I'm not cute? Yu Zian. This was a suicidal question. No, young master, you wouldn't have asked such a scary question in the past. Why did you become so different when you were together with young madam? As if she could read Yu Zian's mind, the disdain in Hua Chenhuan's eyes became even more obvious. She said meaningfully, No wonder you're still single even after dating a few times. You don't even know what's good for you. Which girl would like you? Hua Chenhuan's gaze was too obvious. Yu Zian's body stiffened, and he felt his glass heart shatter into countless pieces. Chapter 28. Su Yiyan received a notification from the system on her way home after delivering the breakfast of love. Surprisingly, she received more than one notification this time. Congratulations, host. You've gained 520 favorability points. Current favorability points, 1314. The system has detected that the total favorability points of the host has reached the minimum required to redeem medicinal herbs. Please head to the shop to redeem them. Congratulations, host. You've gained conviction, +1. You've gained an auxiliary function, knife skill. Please verify it yourself. Conviction? Su Yiyan was stunned. The system had mentioned this before, but it had never been triggered. It also didn't mention how to obtain it. Why did it suddenly increase by 1? The so-called faith value is the gratitude the mission target has for the host. Gratitude? Chenhuan is grateful to me? Just because I personally cooked for him? She felt that something was amiss. After checking, the source of conviction isn't your fiancé, but the audience member who gave you the medicinal cuisine. Su Yiyan's eyes flashed. You mean the medicinal cuisine I made really worked and helped the audience member who was anxious to let his elders eat? Yes. So as long as I help others and they feel grateful to me, I'll be able to obtain conviction? By the way, what's with this auxiliary function? Theoretically, that's right. However, there's another prerequisite to obtaining conviction. The host needs to use the skills produced by the system to help others. In other words, she could only rely on the skills given by the system to help others to obtain conviction. Shortcuts, such as donating money to charity, were impossible. As for the auxiliary function, the forks next to the skill points in the skill tree are auxiliary skills to the main skill. They help the host better use the main skill. Su Yiyan quickly clicked on the skill tree. Sure enough, a small fork next to the medicinal cuisine skill lit up, displaying the 2 words knife skill. This auxiliary skill was a good thing. Not only could it be used for cooking, but it would also be much more convenient for handling medicinal herbs in the future. While the host and the system were discussing this new conviction, Su Yin's phone screen lit up. She opened it and found that it was a private message from the audience member from before. "I'm not happy about you, so what? Host, your soup and porridge are really useful. My grandma can finally eat." Even through the screen, Su Yin could feel the other party's excitement. Su Yin's mood improved as if he was infected by the other party's words. He smiled faintly and replied, "Congratulations." As soon as he sent it over, the other party sent a few more "thank you" emojis, making Su Yin feel a little embarrassed. After that, the other party finally got down to business and explained his real intention of sending Su Yin a private message. "I don't like looking at you, so I'll fight you anyways. It's like this, streamer. My grandma is old, and her appetite has always been poor. This time, it's especially serious. After drinking your Hawthorne Crucian carp soup, we had an extra bowl of rice for lunch today. Although it was only a small bowl, everyone in the family was very happy. I don't like looking at you, I'll scold you, so what? But I've checked, and it doesn't seem to be available on the market. I wanted to ask if you still have it. Can you? Of course, we won't take it for free. You can name the price. We won't have any objections." Chapter 29. Su Yin narrowed her eyes when she saw this long paragraph. She had already predicted that such a day would come when she had made up her mind to use the live broadcast to increase her favorability. The rarer something was, the more valuable it was. The medicinal herbs in her hands seemed ordinary, but they were extinct antiques. It was inevitable that some people would covet them in the future. She had the support of her family, and now she had such a powerful fiancé like Hua Chenhuan. She was not afraid of these things, but she did not want to get into trouble for no reason. Su Yin muttered to herself and asked tentatively, "System, do you have a function to block my personal information?" "Yes, host, please rest assured. The system has set your personal information as top secret. As long as the host is not willing, with the current technology in this world, no one can find out about the host." Su Yin was completely relieved, but she could not give it away so casually. "I can give you the hawthorn, but you have to send me your grandmother's medical report first. Although this thing can be made into food, it is still a kind of medicine. It can't be eaten carelessly, and it is not suitable for everyone. It varies from person to person. I need to understand your grandmother's health condition and confirm the dosage before I dare to give it to you. Otherwise, if there's really a problem, I will not be able to explain it to your family." When the other party saw Su Yin's reply, he did not feel offended. Instead, he felt that Su Yin was responsible and trusted her more. Fortunately, because of the old lady's appetite problem, her family had just taken her for a full body checkup, and the report was still kept. Su Yin received the specific report and had a certain understanding of the old lady's health condition. Using the complete collection of medicinal cuisines, she quickly sent the specific dosage and some precautions along with a batch of hawthorn that she had harvested. After doing all this, Su Yin let out a sigh of relief. Coincidentally, a message was suddenly pushed in front of her. Su Yin glanced at the content of the post, and her eyes flashed slightly. Seeing that her favorability had finally broken through the 1,000 mark, she understood tacitly and knew which medicinal herb to exchange for next. The next day, Lan Jia received a small box full of fresh red fruits that weighed roughly 2 to 3 caddies. He was so happy that he almost hugged the 2 boxes of fruits and ran a few laps around his courtyard. When Lan Minghan came down from upstairs, he saw his younger brother's silly and happy face. The corner of his mouth twitched slightly, and he said with disdain, "What are you foolishly laughing about so early in the morning?" Lan Jia didn't mind. He presented the box of hawthorns to Lan Minghan like he was presenting a treasure. "Brother, look. What's this?" "What is this?" "Fruit." "No, it's called hawthorn. It's a Chinese medicinal herb. I asked a friend of mine who studied history and pharmacy, and he said that there was indeed such a thing in ancient Earth. However, Due to the migration of time and the decline of traditional Chinese medicine, many medicinal herbs became extinct. Extinct? Lan Minghan immediately grasped the main point. Since it's extinct, why would it suddenly appear now? You couldn't have been cheated by someone, right? No, no, no. I've asked my friend. This thing is real. As for why they suddenly reappeared after being extinct, the streamer said that she obtained them by chance and that they were limited. She told me to use them sparingly. Chapter 30. I didn't spend any money. Lan Jia was a little embarrassed. She didn't accept my money, but I feel bad about taking her things for free. I'll go to her live stream later and send her some gifts. Lan Minghan frowned and disagreed. She's unaccountably solicitous. She must be hiding evil intentions. Brother, can you not always think of her as a bad person? Yesterday, when I brought the food back, she said it wasn't safe and couldn't be eaten carelessly. And the result? Grandma's appetite improved, and she became more energetic after eating. Brother, it's good to be careful, but sometimes there's no need to be too careful. Lan Jia was a straightforward person. He always believed that seeing was believing. Even though he had sent Su Yayin a private message in the beginning, it was only because he had heard Su Yayin say, appetizing and healthy food suitable for the elderly. He had taken back the 2 medicinal cuisines with a tentative attitude. But after seeing his grandmother's appetite increase after drinking the crucian carp soup and eating an extra bowl of rice, Lan Jia had become Su Yin's loyal fan. He couldn't bear to hear anyone slander her. Lan Minghan didn't think much of it. The unknown origin of the food was already worthy of vigilance. He didn't think he was making a big fuss. When Lan Jia saw that his big brother was so stubborn, he rolled his eyes as if he had thought of something. He smiled and said, "Big brother, you really have to believe me. This streamer is really talented. Doesn't sister-in-law suffer from dysmenorrhea all the time? I think that's the content of her live stream today. Do you want to watch it too? Maybe you can ask her for some medicinal cuisines like I did before to nourish sister-in-law's body." Lan Minghan's heart skipped a beat. He remembered that his wife had complained 2 days ago that the monthly menstrual cycle was coming soon. When that time came, there would be another big battle. His wife had been sick for more than a day or two. He had tried all kinds of treatments, but there was no improvement. Every time she had those few days, he would feel anxious watching her suffer. If it really worked, Lan Minghan's mind was spinning, but he said, "What are you looking at? Do you really think I'm as free as you? Move, I'm going to work." Lan Jia quickly hugged the box and dodged to the side, muttering, "If you don't want to watch, then don't. Why are you so fierce? What's wrong with being idle? I have so much free time and money. I don't know how many people envy me." After muttering to himself, he hurriedly put the things into the fridge and entered the live broadcast room in advance to wait for Su Yin to start broadcasting. His brother didn't want to look, but he could not look. In the future, when he had a girlfriend, he might be able to rely on this to increase her favorability. He was really a clever little brat. Compared to the first live stream, when Su Yin opened the live stream this time, there were already more than 10 viewers waiting in the live stream. Most of these people didn't know much about medicinal cuisine. The reason why they were attracted to Su Yin's live broadcast was because Su Yin's fish was well fried. "The host is here. Are we still frying fish today? I saw the host's fish soup yesterday and bought a fish to fry at home on a whim. As expected, it was burnt QAQ. For the previous poster, my fish wasn't fried. I just fried it casually and threw it into the soup. As you can imagine, the whole fish came out smelly and fragmented. I ate it until I shed tears of self-abuse." A group of people chattered and discussed their first cooking experience after watching the live stream. The subtitles of the live stream were suddenly flooded with a large number of shiny diamond rewards. Chapter 31. It was normal to give out a few diamonds that were worth 100 renminbi, but to give out 520 diamonds in one go was intriguing. After all, everyone knew what the number 520 represented. Moreover, these 520 diamonds were not a small number. There was dead silence in the live broadcast room. However, Everyone soon realized that this was just the beginning. The viewer with the ID, Mountain U Shutterstock, gave out 520 diamonds a few more times after that, making it a total of 10 times. Some streamers with good traffic on the website only earned a few 100,000 yuan a night. To be able to earn 500,000 yuan in one go, even if she was not in the top 5, she was definitely in the top 10. The new streamer in front of him had only been streaming for 2 days, and there were less than 1,000 viewers in the live broadcast room. She had not even signed the contract yet. What was so special about her that people were willing to give out such a huge sum of money for her? Many new viewers who clicked into the live broadcast room because of the website's gift notification were confused. What followed was jealousy and doubt. However, what these people did not know was that this rich person was still not satisfied after giving out the gifts. The contract hasn't been settled yet. Although the diamonds were quite beautiful, they could be used to confess a few more times if they accumulated. However, there were obviously better gifts, so it did not feel right to just give out the diamonds. Yu Zian silently wiped the cold sweat on his head and said guiltily, "It has already been sent to young madam's email. I guess she hasn't had time to see it yet." Okay. Wu Chenwan glanced at him indifferently. Seeing the sarcastic doubts on the screen, her eyes turned cold, and she gave out another set of 520 diamonds. Every time there was a doubt on the screen, he would give out another set of gifts. In the end, all the jealous people shut their mouths, afraid that they would be slapped in the face with money if they said another word. So what if you're rich? It turned out that being rich really was something. At least it could shut some keyboard warriors up. Even if they could not shut their mouths, it could still infuriate them to death. This sudden episode caught Su Yiyan off guard. Fortunately, she quickly calmed down and made a bold guess about this rich viewer who had suddenly appeared. Although he felt a little helpless about a certain someone's prodigal behavior, the number of viewers in his livestream room had increased from 3 digits to 4 digits because of this wave of rewards, and it was still increasing. He would just treat it as spending money to buy recommendation spots. Su Yiyan had no idea that the livestream platform itself was the property under her man's name, and these rewards were just going back to her own pocket. She was grinning from ear to ear. He coughed lightly, drawing everyone's attention back to him. "Thank you to Mountain U Mountain for your gifts. Today, I'm going to make Chinese motherwort and egg soup for everyone. This is a medicinal sweet soup. The ingredients required are Chinese motherwort, red dates, eggs, and brown sugar. It's not hard to make, and it's very effective for menstrual cramps." Are you serious? Was it effective on dysmenorrhea? Does it not hurt anymore after eating it? What is this motherwort and red dates? Would it really work? I know about brown sugar and eggs. Every time my period hurts badly, my mom would cook some brown sugar for me and say it's a local recipe. Don't talk about drinking it. It does alleviate the pain a little, but it doesn't cure the root cause. It still hurts when it should. Chapter 32. As soon as Su Yiyan finished speaking, the girls in the live broadcast room started to discuss like a pot of boiling water. It could be seen that after so many years, menstrual cramps were still a nightmare for many girls, no matter how advanced the medical technology was. Su Yiyan looked at the bullet screen, which was much livelier than yesterday, and the corners of her lips curled up slightly. First, she boiled a few eggs and peeled them. After that, she took out a casserole and put the motherwort wolfberry and hard-boiled eggs into it. She boiled the water and let it simmer for half an hour. Just now, I saw someone asking what motherwort is. It's a kind of Chinese herb. After it's dried and boiled, it has the effects of promoting blood circulation, regulating menstruation, clearing heat, and detoxifying. However, its taste is a little bitter. If you eat it alone, it won't taste good, so you need to add some supplementary herbs. Under this premise, red dates are a very suitable supplementary herb. As Su Yiyan spoke, she took out a small bowl of dried red dates and smiled faintly. Red dates were known as the king of fruits in ancient times. Not only are they rich in nutrients, but they are also very sweet and delicious. Whether eaten dry or cooked, the taste is very good. The rarest thing is that not only does it have the effect of nourishing yin and yang, but it also has the effect of moderating the medicinal effects, neutralizing the more intense medicinal effects of the herbs, and reducing the side effects. Therefore, adding red dates to the motherwort soup can not only cover its bitterness to a certain extent, but also doesn't affect the effectiveness of the motherwort itself. They complement each other and maximize the effectiveness of their respective medicinal effects. Su Yiyin spoke the truth. Most of the people in the live stream laughed, thinking that Su Yiyin was bragging. If there's such a good thing, how could they not have heard of it? Everyone's reaction was within Su Yiyin's expectations. She didn't explain much. Just as she was about to look at the fire, she heard the familiar reward notification sound. Su Yiyin was slightly stunned. When she looked up, she saw that a certain local tyrant, who had been silent not long ago and only used money to smash people, had sent a shiny bullet screen. The colorful font with its own special effects vividly displayed the word rich and overbearing. I believe you. You are very good. Su Yiyin almost burst out laughing at the familiar straight man's comforting words. She was even more certain of this person's identity. She held back her laughter and said, "Thank you." Although the red dates tasted sweet, they were still dry. The time it took to boil them was short, so the sweetness couldn't completely seep into the soup. In the end, some brown sugar had to be added. I just saw someone say that her menstrual cramps were relieved after drinking brown sugar. Brown sugar did have the effect of promoting blood circulation and removing blood stasis. If it was inconvenient to cook outside, you could also bring some brown sugar with you to drink. It would indeed make you suffer less. Especially those girls who have just given birth, they can eat some brown sugar. It's good for the body. Considering that everyone's tastes are different, I'll let it go according to my taste today. If you're able to make it at home, you can choose how much sugar you want according to your taste. As Su Yiyin spoke, she scooped a spoonful of brown sugar into the pot. As she stirred, the sweet aroma of the soup and the burnt aroma of the eggs became stronger and stronger. It made many viewers in the live stream who had turned on their sense of smell to become restless. I don't usually like to eat sweets, but why is my stomach suddenly growling when I smell this? Chapter 33. Su Yiyin glanced at the feedback on the screen. Seeing that the boiled eggs in the pot were almost dyed a dark color, she turned off the fire. Today's live stream ends here. I just saw a lot of people leaving comments saying that they are on their period. Today, I'll give this Chinese motherwort boiled eggs to the 3 viewers in the live stream room as a small benefit. To be fair, use the live stream's lucky draw device and send Yin Yin's little kitchen to the lucky draw 30 seconds later. This time, the guys don't fight for it. Let's give the girls more chances. As soon as Su Yiyin said this, a few guys in the live stream room were unhappy. That's not fair. Why can't the guys participate in the lucky draw? My wife is on her period too. Can't I snatch it for her? I don't accept this. That's right. My sister is on her period too. Why can the girls snatch it, but the guys can't? Sisters, aunts, please let me win. My mom too, my girlfriend too, my second uncle's aunt's distant cousin too. In the blink of an eye, the atmosphere in the live stream room changed. The viewers were curious about the taste of Su Yiyin's sweet soup and whether it was effective for dysmenorrhea. Now, they were trying to prove that they also had a girl on her period who needed their care. They hoped that the host would treat everyone equally and not only the girls. When Hu Chenwan heard that Su Yiyin was going to give away her handmade food again, and it was even going to be a lucky draw, she frowned and said in a low voice, "Although I don't really like sweets." Yu Ziyan, huh? But still good to try it once in a while. Yu Ziyan, who had received his young master's crazy hint, was in a bad mood. "Young master, wake up." Even if the soup was personally made by young madam, she had clearly said that it was for girls who were on their period. Girls, why are you, a man, joining in the fun? Aren't you afraid that something will happen to you? The corners of Yu Ziyan's mouth twitched violently. He silently made a mental note to the legal department. If it weren't for their slow work efficiency, he wouldn't have been in the Gu residence today and wouldn't have been in such an awkward situation. Cough, it's too late this time. Let's wait for the next time. In a while, I'll get the technical department to give you a black box. I guarantee that you'll have a share in all the lucky draws in young madam's live stream in the future." Only then did Hua Chunwan's expression soften. She then added, "Only female characters are allowed to be drawn. I'm an exception." Hearing this, Yu Xian's eyebrows twitched. At that time, Su Yiyin did not know that the lucky draw in her live broadcast room was about to be manipulated. Since then, almost all the viewers with male accounts were cut off from the lucky draw. The reason for this was that a certain someone couldn't bear to see other men eating the food she made with her own hands and was jealous. 30 seconds passed in the blink of an eye. The lucky draw wheel in the live broadcast room started on time. Soon, 3 people were selected from the thousands of viewers. Surprisingly, these 3 people happened to be in the same city as Su Yiyin. Chapter 34. Xiaoning was a junior in the art department of a university. Her painting major was an art major that the school focused on. Even though she was already a junior, she still had a lot of courses. However, at 9 o'clock in the morning, she was supposed to be sitting in the classroom. At this moment, her face was pale, and she was lying on the bed half dead. Her eyes were empty, and she looked miserable as if she would die at any time. Suddenly, a knock on the door broke the silence in the room and pulled back Xiaoning's wandering soul. Xiaoning frowned slightly and did not get up to open the door immediately. The knock on the door continued for a while and then stopped. Just when Xiaoning thought that the person outside the door had left, the knock on the door sounded again. Xiaoning's face darkened. She sat up while holding her painful stomach and ran out angrily. As soon as she opened the door of the dormitory, she saw a delivery boy standing at the door and asked charmingly naively, "Excuse me, are you Miss Xiaoningshi? Your express delivery is here." "Delivery? I didn't order." Xiaoning's words stopped abruptly. She suddenly remembered that she had participated in the lottery in the live broadcast room more than 10 minutes ago and seemed to have won a delivery. Xiaoning returned to the room with the delivery boy's express delivery. She couldn't wait to open the outer packaging and saw the familiar sweet soup at a glance. The moment the insulated box was opened, the suppressed sweet fragrance rushed to her brain, making her feel refreshed. She didn't know if it was a psychological effect, but when she smelled it, the dull pain in her stomach seemed to be much better. Thinking of what the streamer had said in the live broadcast room, Xiaoning hesitated for a moment, ran to the other side of the dormitory, and patted the bulge on the bed. "Ainin, Ainin, get up, get up." Little Drum Bun moved a little and grumbled weakly. "What are you doing?" "I was just about to close my eyes, and suddenly you patted me. Look at what this is." Ainin got out of the quilt and looked at the thing Xiaoning handed over. She frowned and said, "What is this?" "Soup. It smells good, but I don't drink sweet soup, and now I have no appetite. I won this from a streamer's lottery. It's called motherwort and egg soup, and it's said to cure dysmenorrhea. Shall we try it?" "Streamer? Lottery? Aren't those unbranded products? Aren't you afraid of getting yourself sent to the hospital?" Xiaoning was actually a little hesitant. However, menstrual cramps weren't considered an illness. When it came to pain, she felt like she was hovering between life and death. "Then why don't I try drinking it? If it works, you can drink it. If there's really a problem, you can call an ambulance for me." And then frowned and held Xiaoning's hand that was about to withdraw. She said weakly, "Don't. Let me do it. If something really happens and you collapse, I might not have the strength to call an ambulance." Without waiting for Xiaoning's reaction, and then scooped a mouthful of soup and drank it. Xiaoning couldn't stop her in time and exclaimed, "Anin, are you okay?" And then smacked her lips and savored the aftertaste. "It's quite delicious, Xiaoning, and I don't know if it's just my imagination, but after drinking it, I feel a little warm from my throat to my stomach." "Is it that exaggerated?" Xiaoning was a little suspicious. However, in the next second, she didn't have time to think so much, because her trash roommate actually picked up the thermos container and poured it into her mouth like she was drinking from a bottle. Chapter 35. On the other side, Su Yiyin received a familiar notification as soon as she got off the livestream. She was even more certain that the rich spectator who had appeared out of nowhere was Hua Chenhuan. Although she didn't know how Hua Chenhuan found out that she had opened a live stream and chased after her so quickly, it didn't affect her good mood at all. Especially after that, Su Yiyin received about 300 to 400 favorability points. After 2 days of live streaming, Su Yiyin heaved a sigh of relief. She tidied up the kitchen and was about to leave when she was caught by her mother. I heard from your brother that you personally cooked a love-filled lunch for that person in the family yesterday and even delivered it to him personally. Su Yiyin was stunned. She immediately cast a condemning look at her elder brother who had told her the news. Su Yushuan looked up at the ceiling and pretended that he didn't see anything. The cabbage that he had painstakingly raised had been eaten by a pig, just like that. He felt wronged. Why are you looking at your brother? Did he wrongly accuse you? No, then it must be true. Cheng Xiuqin's expression collapsed. She was both angry and amused as she said, why else would people say that a married daughter is like spilled water? You're not even married yet, but you're already cooking a love-filled lunch for someone. If you really get married, how will you remember us old parents in the future? Io, why is my life so bitter? Cheng Xiuqin wiped away the non-existent tears on her face as she spoke. Su Yiyin's mouth twitched slightly. She secretly complained that her mother had watched some melodramatic family drama. However, she didn't dare to show any dissatisfaction on her face. She ingratiated herself with Cheng Xiuqin and said softly, Mom, what are you talking about? How can I forget about you just because I have him? Then why are you so eager to deliver food to him? When Cheng Xiuqin said this, Father Su and Brother Su, who was not far away, snorted coldly in agreement. Su Yiyin's expression stiffened, but she quickly recovered and sighed softly. Isn't it because I pity him? Pity, that's right. Look at how inconvenient it is for him to walk. His relatives are all like that. You can imagine how difficult his life is. You don't know that unless it's necessary, he doesn't leave his old house. He works and rests there all the time. Isn't it because people outside are unfriendly to him? If I don't accompany him, how pitiful will he be? She was always tough. She was tough. She was soft-hearted. She heard Su's words. Is he really that pitiful? How can it be fake? What kind of people are Hua Xiaofeng's family? It's already good enough that they don't run to Chenhuan and gossip. How can you expect them to treat him well? Cheng Xiuqin choked. If Su Yiyin had said this before, she might have defended Hua Xiaofeng's family. But now, she and Hua Xiaofeng's mother were best friends since university. She thought that she knew each other well. Otherwise, she wouldn't have agreed to the marriage between Su Yiyin and Hua Xiaofeng. In the end, this family slapped her whole family, especially her best friend's face. Cheng Xiuqin was really disgusted with that family now. Hua Xiaofeng wasn't a good person. Her best friend and her husband couldn't have raised such a son either. Now that you mention it, it's understandable. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.